For you, frankly, I feel silly on an Indian position upon my existence. Looks like a straitjacket, or more like my first memory as a young toddler who, being against an gestation of fleas, having been shut up in my throat in such extreme hatred for being in such existence as to recall it, and so often throughout my life having incest, I were reached the same absolute disgust for such a pathetic creation. I incompetently was smuggled thought clever for his efforts in such experience, blind to how stupid this world is on every level. Clueless such a retard has made this abomination so clueless for many years as if to ends to grasp that, and I'm bittersomely proud that I continue on another day as these types overlord control it while being forced to be subjected to such cretins. This simulation is absolute shit, and
Christian civilization and their overthrow. And of course, this then gets codified in the protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, as well as the Communist Manifesto, as well as a number of other documents that are traceable and go to Hugh Aiken's book. And then there's Tex Mars's book, The Holy Serpent of the Jews. And, he quotes the rabbis themselves and their own game plan. He quotes Harold Rosenthal, who was a Senate aide to Senator Jacob Javits, who said most Jews don't like to admit it, but the God we worship is Lucifer. Well, so we're dealing with a satanic movement. We're dealing with a serpent cult here, which at the surface, we all know nice Jews and everything, but at the surface, they look like us, but they are in fact tribal. If you go back to Theodor Herzl and his comments at the World Zionist Conference in 1897, he was asked. Of course, this is before Israel was formed as a nation. He said, is Israel really a nation? And he said, yes, because the Jews are a distinct race, number one. And number two, because if by a nation you mean a people united against a common enemy, then yes, we are a nation. Well, what you have to realize is the common enemy is everybody who's not Jewish. And that's the Goyim, that's the Gentiles, that's the other. And they refer to us as beasts. They consider themselves gods. They consider us beasts, to be robbed, stolen from, cheated, and deprived of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So what you see then is over the last 2,000 years, the Jewish dispersal into all the nations, and in 100 nations or more in the last couple thousand years, they have been kicked out of nations because everywhere they go deals with precipitating internal disorders, for instance, terrorist events, and then acting swiftly to execute mass arrests of the more dangerous opponents of the Zionist master plan. This is precisely what's behind the policy since the Clinton administration, and increasingly so during the Bush and Obama administrations, to associate Christians, pro-lifers, constitutionalists, Ron Paul conservatives, homeschoolers, Second Amendment advocates, 9/11 truthers, Holocaust revisionists, critics of Israel, and those who oppose the Jewish Federal Reserve and all of the needless wars we fight for Israel. All these sincere Christians and patriots are singled out by our government in the hands of the Zionist elders as quote-unquote potential homegrown terrorists. Also, they're called in military documents insurgents, non-state actors, adversaries, etc. And the genius of Mark Rich's book is that he actually goes through and finds the military documents and the language that they use that describes this fourth-generation warfare that we're now in. And so I would make the point that Americans need to wake up and stop being complicit. On the electronic warfare, directed energy weapons, which it is my contention, Freeman, that this is the fingerprints, if you will, of the New World Order, that PSYOPs, that is to say mass trauma-based mind control, and electronic warfare, that is to say directed energy weapons, were used in the Kennedy assassination. We can talk about that. They were used in Operation 9/11. We can talk about that. And they are being used en masse around the world in this phenomenon that we call gang stalking. And they're targeting domestic enemies. And what's happening is with fourth-generation warfare. That's what gang stalking is.
The entire human race
fourth-generation
can be
warfare.
controlled through the use of electromagnetic
this is a revolution
influence,
coming from the extremely
on television and radio networks or other technological means.
Effectively, all consciousness is due to electromagnetic patterns generated within the brain. What we do is imitate what the brain normally does and apply it experimentally.
Like, where are these thoughts?